All right, let's get right into it. If you're heading into any career, I'm talking finance, marketing, tech, you name it, you absolutely have to understand how services work. Seriously, this isn't just some boring theory. This is the playbook for how modern businesses actually create value and win over customers. So let's dive in.
I want you to think about this for a second. Why is one experience usually super smooth, super efficient, and totally on your terms, while the other one, well, it can feel like the exact opposite, right? The answer to that question really gets to the heart of what service design is all about, and it boils down to one single critical factor: customer contact.
So here's our game plan. We're going to build a really powerful mental toolkit. First, we'll cover the basics of what makes a service a service. Then we'll get into how the pros actually design them. After that, we tackle the biggest wild card of all, customers. We'll even test these ideas in the super high-stakes world of healthcare. And finally, I'll give you the blueprint, the actual tools you can use to make any service better. Okay, first up, the biggest idea you need to grasp. You see, when you're building a car on an assembly line, the customer is nowhere in sight. They just get the finished product at the end. But in a service, the customer is right there, in the factory, with you. They are an active and, often unpredictable part of the process itself.
Because of that, we can't just think about a single product. We have to think about the entire service package. This is the whole shebang. It's everything the customer experiences, from the building they walk into, to the website they use, to the feeling they have when they leave.
And this triangle, it shows you exactly how it works. See? The customer is right there in the middle, connecting everything. The company's overall strategy, the employees on the front lines, and all the behind-the-scenes systems. They all have to be perfectly aligned and pointing at the customer. If one of those is out of whack, believe me, the customer feels it instantly.
So let's break that package down. Think about a university, for example. The supporting facility, that's the campus, the physical buildings. The facilitating goods, those are things like your textbooks or your student ID card. The information, well, that's you providing your data when you enroll in a class. The explicit service is pretty obvious. It's the education, the degree. But the implicit service, that's the feeling of prestige or community or intellectual discovery. Every single service has these 5 parts. Now, this is where it gets super practical. The amount of customer contact changes everything. In a high-contact service, like walking into a bank branch, the teller has to have great people skills, right? The building needs to be in a convenient location. But in a low-contact service, like the center that processes all the checks, you just need people with technical skills and a focus on efficiency. You could put that building anywhere in the country, and quality is easy to measure. Did the check clear or not? Getting this difference is absolutely fundamental. So if we know customer contact is the game changer, how do we actually design for it? Well, that leads us right into our next section. This isn't about getting lucky. I promise you, every great service experience you've ever had was intentionally and carefully designed, from a simple password reset email to a super customized consulting project. Okay, this matrix looks a little complicated, but it shows a simple, powerful trade-off that every single service business faces. Just follow the line from the bottom left up to the top right. Down here, you've got low-contact stuff, like mail order. It's super efficient. But as you move up and add more phone calls, more face-to-face time, the chance to upsell or build a relationship goes way up. The catch? Your efficiency goes way down, because now you're dealing with unique, messy human beings, not just standardized packages.
And this table makes that idea even clearer. Just look at how the worker requirements change. For a low-contact mail service, you need good clerical skills. Move to a medium-contact call center, and sudden mint verbal skills are key. But for a high-contact, face-to-face consulting job, you need deep diagnostic skills to figure out a client's specific problem. The people, the process, the tech, it all has to change. Which, of course, brings us to the biggest challenge, and honestly, the most interesting part of any service: the customer. In manufacturing, you get to control all your raw materials. In services, your main raw material is the customer, and they are the ultimate wild card. Customers throw curveballs at your process in 5 main ways. First, arrival. They don't show up in a neat, orderly line. You get a huge lunch rush. Then, request. Everyone wants their coffee just a little bit differently. Capability. Some people are pros at the self-checkout. Others need a lot of help. Effort. Some customers will put their tray away. Others will leave a huge mess. And finally, subjective preference. This is the big one. 2 people can get the exact same service, and one will love it, the other will hate it. So the big question for you as a future manager is, what do you do about it? Well, you've basically got four strategies. You can go for a classic accommodation, like the Ritz-Carlton, and just hire more amazing staff to handle anything. It's expensive, but the service is incredible. Or you can do low-cost accommodation, like an airline pushing you to check in online. On the flip side, you can try to reduce the variability. Think classic reduction, like a restaurant that requires reservations to control the flow. The real genius is picking the right strategy for your specific business.
All right, now let's take everything we've talked about and put it to the ultimate test. Because there is no service environment on Earth that is more complex, more variable, or has higher stakes than healthcare. $4.1 trillion. That's the annual spending on healthcare in the United States. Just let that number sink in. The scale is just mind-boggling. And improving the operations in the system isn't just a business problem, it's a critical issue for society.
Take a look at this. It's a care chain, basically a process map for something like a hip replacement. Look at how complicated that journey is. You've got consultations, tests, the surgery itself, recovery. Each step is a mini operation. And you see those triangles? Those are cues. Waiting. In operations, we sometimes call these decoupling points, and trying to manage the flow of actual human beings through a chain this complex, well, it's one of the hardest puzzles there is to solve.
So when you're facing all that complexity, how can you possibly make things better? That brings us to our final section, the professional's toolkit. These are the practical tools you're going to want in your back pocket for your career. First up is the service blueprint. Think of it like a flowchart, but with a secret weapon, this line of visibility. Everything above that line is what the customer actually sees and experiences. It's the front stage, the performance. Everything below the line is the back office, backstage work that makes the show happen. By mapping a process out like this, you can pinpoint exactly where things are going right and where they're at risk of failing. Another incredibly powerful tool is a Japanese concept called pokayokes, which basically means mistake-proofing. These are simple, often brilliant design features that prevent you from making a mistake. Think about how the ingredients in a meal kit are perfectly portioned so you can't mess it up, or how a pilot has a mandatory pre-flight checklist. The goal is to make it easy to do things right and really hard to do them wrong. And you can apply mistake-proofing in 3 key areas. Just remember the 3 T's. The task itself. Can we make the process clearer? The treatment. Are we ensuring our staff is consistently polite and helpful? And the tangibles. Are the physical things, like the receipt, the website, or the signs in the building, clear and error-free? So I'm going to leave you with a challenge. From now on, when you're out in the world, look around. The world is just a massive web of service processes. But now you have the toolkit to see it differently. The next time you get amazing service or absolutely terrible service, you won't just feel it. You'll understand why. You'll be able to see the design, or the lack of design, behind the whole experience. And trust me, being able to see that is like having a superpower in any career you choose.